chirpy. Hello, hello. I love coming to Brighton. Give me a cheer if you're from Brighton. Yeah. Do you know what my favourite thing about Brighton is? I love how liberal you lot are. It's something happened to me that I think best demonstrates how liberal Brighton is, right? I was doing something simple, just clothes shopping with the wife, right? And I was, as any man will know who's been stood clothes shopping with his wife, I was stood outside the changing rooms clutching the several hundred outfits that she still wanted to try on. And it was at this point I was approached by a member of staff who just took one look at me, one look at the dresses and just asked, "Are you waiting to try those on?" Which I thought was nice. It's a very liberal attitude, like, because there was no name calling from her, no finger pointing, not even a stereotypical assumption. I was with a lady, right? Just a very nice woman who took one look at me, my 6'1", 17-stone frame, a glance at the size 10 dresses hanging over my arm, and in her mind considered I might just be the world's most deluded and optimistic transvestite. It was thoroughly lovely. I've had a decent, you've had a decent year as well, have you? I've had a lovely year, 2 milestones I reached this year. Did my first ever Edinburgh show. And if I came back from Edinburgh with anything, it was a fistful of useless money. And I'd heard people talk about trying to spend Scottish money down here before. I've heard that, but I never experienced it, right? Until I managed to bring some Scottish money all the way back to the south coast. And I took my missus shopping again. I bought her gifts. It wasn't even Christmas, Paul, wherever you are. Just did it. Just did it, because I'm that kind of guy. And my missus, right, she chose something she wanted, I was happy to pay for it, handed the cashier a wad of money in which was a Scottish £10 note, right, which she then proceeded to look at with a face that suggested that what I had given her was not in fact money, but a tissue I'd wiped my arse with. And I'm not kidding, she held it up to the light for about 40 seconds. She then held it under this machine with a blue light I'd never seen before, and then started drawing on it with a pen. It was like watching a montage of an episode of CSI Top Shot. But eventually she took it. That wasn't the second milestone. The second one is I got married this year. Yeah. Strangely, it didn't get as much as a cheer as the Edinburgh show, so I think we're getting everyone's priorities clear. But yeah, I got married, and on the build-up to the wedding, I started to feel a bit of pressure with the day looming. The only thing I was felt the pressure was how I was going to look on the day, because I appreciate that I'm not in the physical peak I was probably about 15 years ago. So I decided that what I was going to do to try and lose a bit of weight for the wedding, so I'd look nice in the pictures, was take up running. And I chose running because basically where I live is quite a large running community, right? And I found myself watching the people who run with a mixture of envy and awe, right, as they glided past my house with grace and finesse. And I wanted people to look at me like that, right? So I took up running, and people were looking at me, but definitely not for the same reasons. All right, because the very sight of me knackered, hauling myself through the streets, I could physically see people looking behind to see if there was a fire, or ahead to see if there was an ice cream van. I started going to the gym with my brother, because my brother goes like 4 or 5 times a week. He's like hench, you know, proper stats, he loves it. And we went there, and day one we did arms, and I felt great for about 30 minutes. And then he left me with these useless stumps for 3 days. I could barely reach for a biscuit. But apparently you can't just go once, you have to go again. So we went back again. This time, how did he put it? We smashed legs. I felt brilliant for about half an hour, except for the next 4 days I had to look like I was sneaking about. Except he made me go again. We went again, I was like, "Steve, why are you doing this to me?" He goes, "I'm going to turn you into a beast, bruv." I said, "You fucking have you seen me? I'm a fucking T-Rex." And he has this motto, he goes, "You go hard or you go home." He never lets me go home. But you can't fight with my brother, you can't argue with him, because my brother's a fighter, right? I've seen him, he's dangerous. I don't get into fights. The closest I've ever been to a fight is the time I once punched myself in the face trying on a wetsuit. I bought some scales as well to try and keep an eye on the weight loss, and I kept them up in my bathroom. Now the problem with me is I'm very childish. I literally have no idea how much weight I lost, right? I only use those scales to weigh myself before and after every poo to see what that weighed. It's difficult to lose weight, particularly on me. I've got bad eating habits. Like, one is I eat food that's way past its sell-by date. Quite dangerously past its sell-by date. But I've been doing it for so long now, I'm pretty sure I could eat anything. But I ate pork that had been in my fridge for so long, it had a silvery film on it and it tasted like fish. Nothing happened. Only recently, I was halfway through a pot of tangy and extremely questionable hummus, right? Until my missus pointed out that what I was eating was in fact supposed to be a yoghurt. Nothing. And the other eating habit I've got is bad. I eat food off the floor. Anyone else do that? Obviously, yeah, I mean, like somebody went, obviously stuff I've dropped, not stuff I've just happened across. But somebody did shout out the 3 second rule, whatever it was. What did you shout out? 30 second rule. 30 seconds, that's pushing it, isn't it? Because my next line is about how you double it should you drop something worthwhile. You lot just eat out of fucking bins. But everyone knows it, the rule, don't they? Everyone knows it there. Only a fool would break the rule, right? Or a maverick. Because if I were to have a chicken fajita, right? It'd fall from my grasp, tumble down 3 flights of stairs, be picked up in the talons of an eagle, flown to the woods, dropped on the forest floor below. It wouldn't matter to me one bit how long it took to get it right. As long as I can blow the visible filth off, I'm still eating it. But obviously then I accept that everything I've just said is highly improbable, right? Because there's no way on earth I'd ever drop a chicken fajita. But eating healthy is hard, right? Particularly I went to a restaurant, and the healthiest thing they had on the menu was lentils. Lentils are not food. Anybody who went to a British primary school knows they are arts and crafts. Right, they belong in a category here with PVA glue and glitter. Right, which are 2 things I would eat before fucking lentils. See, I can't even look at a lentil, right, without thinking about primary school. And then when I think about primary school, I get annoyed because I remember primary school let me do some cool stuff that I got pretty damn decent at, which has been no use to me as an adult. Right, and I've got 3 questions I'll fire out that prove my point, right? Name me one, just one, famous piece of art made out of pasta. I appreciate you trying hard to think. There isn't one, it's fine. You're off the hook. Name me one. Professional hopscotch player. Anyone in the room, raise your hands if you can name me one. Just one. Top 40 hit with a face-melting recorder solo. You know, I'm still waiting for a time that I get woken up in the middle of the night, right, by a neighbour knocking on my door. I run out to the street in just my pyjamas to find him there on his knees going, "Mate, help. You gotta help." What is it, mate? Someone's put a brick in the bottom of my pool. It's simply never going to happen. And as I said, I got married this year. Kind of went off point a bit. I got married this year, and one of the things I noticed when I got married is that the conversation very quickly comes around to marriage all the time. It seemed to be what we were talking about. And I remember one time we were out having lunch with our friends, and the subject came up, and the topic came around to gay marriage and our opinions on it. Now, generally speaking, the opinions on the table were you do what you want, whatever makes you happy, we're decent people. Now, one of my friends, Michael, who is gay, he says, until we stop calling it gay marriage, it's always going to carry a stigma. Just because gay people do it doesn't need to be referred to as gay. This is a fucking interesting point. Oh, mate, nice. Because when I go to the cinema with my partner, just because I'm gay doesn't mean I watch gay cinema. It's like, fucking hell. And then he said, look, we're having dinner right now. Just because I'm gay, it doesn't mean I'm having a gay lunch. And that's where he lost me, because he was eating couscous. Is anyone going out for New Year's tomorrow? Anyone going out? Is this it for you? Everyone going out? Do you know what? Be careful, right, if you go out. Something I've noticed that happened recently. It happened to me in a Wetherspoons. I'll leave you the story, right? I was in a Wetherspoons, and I found myself caught in an unfortunate position, right? That being, I was having a poo. Bear with me. Not like other people in Wetherspoons, I bothered to go to the toilet. And I was in there, just minding my own business, and I got a knock at the door. Door staff, mate, open up. No. He said, you need to open up, mate. I need to make sure you're not doing any drugs in there. Terribly sorry. You're going to have to take my word for it. Nobody's taken any big sniffs in here. He said, if I can't see what you're doing, mate, you're going to have to leave. I thought, I don't want to leave, like, because all my friends are downstairs, but the other hand, I do not need this geezer seeing me like this. And I could see his boots under the door, and I sort of carry on with what I'm doing. And I'm guessing that this was the exact moment that all the alcohol that I drank already had kicked in. Because then I came up with this hideous idea that what I was going to do was finish the poo and keep hold of one of my tissues. And I got a bit bloody minded about it. If he wants to bloody well see about a poo, yeah, that's what he wants to see. I'm going to chuff it while I'm shy. And so I did open the door, and there he was, and I lifted the tissue up to his face. Yeah. And as I said, I'm not proud of it, but it happened, and I could tell from some of your faces that that you were as appalled as he was. And I can see some of you looking at me. Maybe you're not, maybe not trying to, you know, can't picture the imagery in your mind. Basically, he looked like I'd handed him Scottish money. Ladies and gentlemen, Robin Michaels, Happy New Year.